Choosing your right offshore leader can make or break your offshore team's success. So how do you find the right leader? Let's find out. Hi, I'm Bryan Luoma, and I'm the CEO of Tahche, and this is the Philippine Business Playbook Podcast. I have over a decade of offshoring experience, and one thing I've learned is having the right leader really makes the difference when you're trying to grow your team. You may have started with one VA, but now you really want to grow from 2, 3, 4 employees to 10 or 15 employees. Or you want to just jump right into it and hire 10 people. Who's going to be that leader that manages your team? That decision can be the big difference in whether or not that team is successful or not. Over the years, I've helped clients build dozens of teams in the Philippines. And one thing I can confidently point to is that the teams that hire a competent leader are the ones that really succeed. So if you've got a leader that can be your man on the ground or your woman on the ground, they're going to be the ones that help grow and drive your team to success. So how do you decide on who's going to be the leader for your team? Everyone's heard of the Peter Principle, where you just keep promoting somebody until they get to a level where they're not any good anymore and you don't promote them, and that's where they stick. And obviously that's not good for your company. Also, there's the idea of promoting the best technically proficient person with your team to that leadership position, and then you find out that they were great technically, but now they're bad as a leader. And so then you have, at that point, kind of shot yourself in the foot, because that person is no longer doing that technical task that they were great at, and they're not good at the leadership position that you wanted. And so you really hurt your team in that respect as well. So what do you really need to be looking at when you're trying to hire a leader for your remote team? Remember, this is going to be a team that's on the other side of the planet that you're not going to have eyes on an everyday basis, minute to minute. So this is going to be a person that really needs to take your place with your team and drive them and grow them so that they can be successful for your company. Obviously, you want to find somebody that has proven experience. You want to find somebody that's been a leader somewhere else and really shown that they can be a good leader. When you're hiring that person, you're going to want to do the background checks and do the reference checks to make sure that what they're saying on the resume is true and that they're actually going to be successful in that position. And I think a lot of people, that when they're hiring a freelancer or they're hiring somebody on onlinejobs.ph or one of these other online hiring platforms, whether it's Indeed or something else, they're not able to do that, or they don't have the bandwidth to do all of the reference checks and background checks to make sure that proven experience is there. And that can be a blind point in building your team, and something that I really want to warn you about. Additionally, it's really helpful if you can hire somebody that has a track record with remote teams. Have they run a remote team in the past? Because that's a different animal than just working with in a typical office setting or even a remote individual people working from home. It's a different animal when the main leader or the main boss is in the US and you're trying to run and grow a team in the Philippines. You're going to have to be dealing with things that are on the ground with your team that the boss or the company owner in the US just isn't able to understand or deal with. And so they're going to need to have really strong leadership abilities in those situations. I've had a client that hired somebody that was technically proficient and had the experience, but didn't necessarily run an office the way that I would have wanted the office run. The cultural core values of that leader weren't necessarily great. And so what happened was, even though the team was succeeding in getting the work done, it was breaking down culturally and within what I think would be good core values for a team, and it ended up blowing up at some point. And so it's really important that the leader is really focused on running a remote team and being the leader within that office without the company owner there to help them every step of the way. They're going to need an ability to motivate their team. They're going to have to be able to motivate that team by themselves. They're not going to have you there every minute of every day and doing the rah-rah stuff that you do as a company owner. They're going to have to do that for their team. And so I've had clients with teams that they need to really step up in a period where there's a lot of work that needs to get done, and they need to ask the team to work overtime and put in the extra work and really take on new tasks maybe, and really need to show that they're going to go above and beyond what typically is done. And so the leader on the ground is the one that's going to be the one that does that. You as the company owner, you're not going to be able to do that on the ground. You can have a stand-up meeting in the morning. You can do all those things on a periodic basis, but you're not going to be there minute to minute. And so your leader in the office needs to be the person that's driving that team forward. And so the ability to motivate really is important. And then they're going to have some solving skills, because I can guarantee you, if you got even 4, 5, 6 people, let alone 10 or 20 people, there's going to be problems that come up, whether it's just office drama or office politics, or something a little bit more subtle, or problems with vendors that are coming in, or people outside the office. There are going to be problems that come up, and they're going to need to have problem-solving skills in that moment. You as the company owner aren't going to be able to deal with these issues from the U.S. To your team in the Philippines. You're really going to need a leader that can handle that. Maybe it's just personality conflicts within the team. They're going to need to be the ones that can solve those problems and make sure that the team continues to operate smoothly. And so problem-solving skills are really something that you're going to want to try and find within your leader, and may not be obvious if you're just looking at a resume and doing one interview and setting them on their way. And then you really want to have a leader that has some success in the past in completing projects. I've had leaders that can do all the things that I talked about previously, but just can never get the job done, right? They just haven't shown that they're completing projects. And so driving the team to get the project over the finish line really is important. And so having a leader that's shown the ability to complete a project and deliver is really important. And I think that if you have somebody that really is skilled at everything but drags things out and isn't able to get things over the finish line, that's going to be a downfall for your company. So these are things that I think you should look for when finding a leader for your company. One thing that I want to highlight is the necessity for your leader to have a culture fit, not only in the U.S., but also in the Philippines, and the communication skills that are necessary for your leader. So your leader is going to be communicating with you on hopefully a daily basis, if not more often than that. And they're going to be communicating with the team locally in the Philippines. And so it's really important that they understand both cultures within the Philippines and in the U.S. and are able to communicate you nuances that maybe you won't know yourself. They're going to be able to understand nuances with regard to holidays and with regard to the family interactions and all of those cultural issues that happen within the Philippines that might be subtle and you possibly do not know about, and the culture in the U.S. And so that they can communicate then to your team in the Philippines about what the cultural situation is in the U.S. on holidays and communication styles and stuff like that. So especially if your team in the Philippines is getting communication directly from clients, or you're forwarding communication from clients to them, they're going to have to understand the instructions and understand the verbiage that's coming from the client. Sometimes their English is perfect, but there's slang, or there's abbreviations, there's little regional touches that may not come across perfectly to every Filipino. And so you're going to need to have a leader that understands the culture, both in the US and in the Philippines, so that they can be communicating that directly between both organizations or both groups of people. When hiring your leader, you want to make sure that they have the necessary technical skills for the position, depending on what the team is. So if you're building a team that's in the sciences, engineering, architecture, or legal or accounting, you're going to want to make sure that they have the technical skills to actually make sure that the work's getting done, and train and review the work that's being produced by the team. So that's obvious, and you're going to want to make sure that they have those skills when you're hiring them. But you're also going to want to look for additional skills that can show that they're going to be a good leader. So some of the best leaders that I've been able to hire are ones that have Six Sigma certifications, maybe were part of the Toastmasters group and have really good communication skills. There are certain certifications that they can have, or other degrees and stuff like that they can have, that can really show that they're going to be a leader beyond just somebody that has grown, through the Peter Principle to a leadership position. And I know that in the US, some of these certifications maybe aren't as common, or maybe aren't as looked for because of the potential costs associated with them. I know Six Sigma certification, for example, is relatively uncommon unless you're in a big corporate setting. And so a lot of small business owners don't even really consider that as a possibility when hiring that type of person. But in the Philippines, that's different. You can afford it. You can find people that have these higher level certifications. And so I really want to encourage people that are building a team in the Philippines to really kind of think beyond maybe what you have done in the past. So look for a leader that has Six Sigma certification, or look for a leader that has taken speaking courses or been part of groups to advance their leadership skills. These are certifications and skill enhancements that you can find in the Philippines, and you can afford, because the cost differences allow you to kind of level up in the type of leader you're looking for. And I think that's something that people don't really think about when they're comparing how they hire a leader in the Philippines compared to how they hire a leader locally here in the US. I hope this video has been helpful for all the business owners out there that are looking to build a team in the Philippines, and kind of give you a little bit insight on how to select your team leader for your team in the Philippines. That is really going to be one of the most important aspects to the success of your team. And I think a lot of small business owners that are not used to really building a team, even locally or compared to the overseas, and how it can be done at a high level, may not understand how to do it. If you're used to just kind of organically growing by promoting somebody that's internally, and kind of hoping that high level technical person can turn into a great leader, and training them day to day over weeks and months till they are a great leader, that's not the process that you want to follow in the Philippines. And what you want to do in the Philippines is really hire an amazing leader from day one. That's the fastest way to success, and what I want to encourage anyone that's building a team in the Philippines to do. So if you found this video helpful, kind of hit that like button. And if you want to learn more about building teams in the Philippines, follow us. And we're going to have a lot of videos on this subject, and I think you're going to find a lot of useful information. Again, I'm Bryan Luoma, and this is the Philippine Business Playbook Podcast, and I'm looking forward to talking to you again on the next video.